referred to as the life and the personality of an arrangement. You know, people react to color. It's all about a visual thing when it comes to flowers. You know, and I see so many times when I'm out on the road or when I'm visiting a shop, or I see people post their arrangements on Facebook, the one thing that concerns me is their lack of attention for color. Okay, you know, everybody, I'd say probably 15 years ago, got stuck on this garden mix, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the garden mix, because if my customer requests garden mix, I can give them a garden mix. Maybe a little more selective as far as color is concerned than some people, but you see so many arrangements out there that has one of everything in the arrangement, and it's just not pleasing to the eye to me. And ladies, if you could share with me that garden mix arrangement there. Color is so important to me because, and I'm just going to sidebar here what I do personally at my shop. Unless a customer requests a specific color palette from me, most of the time my arrangements are going to be monochromatic, meaning shades and hues of one color, or complementary colors. Those are the two popular ones that we do. And I'm just a big stickler on color because everyone else here in town, and no disrespect to my colleagues, we work really well together, but they do mostly garden mix, and that's their thing, but that's not my thing. And when it comes to competition, I told Melissa yesterday, for me, when you're going down this list right here, folks, there's several of these that are no-brainers, that are easy points. I call them easy points, okay? Color being one of them, mechanics being another. Those two, and category interpretation, those three, you should be hitting it out of the park. Your students should be knocking at a 4 or 5 on all three of those at any given time. There should be no excuse for that, because we're going to show you today how to help them with that, and color is the easiest thing to me, okay? This is a garden mix. You can see we have red, yellow, pink, white, and 2 different shades of pink, actually. This is a garden mix, and not saying there's anything wrong with this, but when you're talking about color, your eye bounces from here to here to here to here. And technically, the first thing your eye is going to see, scientifically proven, is white. And one thing that I learned early on in my career when doing competition work was you really don't want to mix white with vivid color. It's scientifically proven that white reflects light. So what happens is your eye goes to the white first, and then it sees the color second. And it also dilutes your color. Just like when you go to the paint store and you want to dilute a color in your paint, you add white to it to dilute that color. The same effect happens with the white. And so we're really busy here, okay? And I wanted to show you how white can dilute color. This is a beautiful arrangement of blue hydrangeas and orange Gerber daisies. But when you look at this, your eye's going to see that white that's coming out of there first, and then it's going to go to the blue hydrangea, and then goes to the orange Gerber because it's the darker color. For me personally, this would look a lot better if we took the white out and concentrated that color. That would be a more of a pop versus the white in there, okay? Does that make sense? So I know you're probably thinking, well, what if the kids are given white? This is the thing you need to remember and you need to instill in your kids. Just because you're giving flowers doesn't mean you have to use them. For me, when I'm working a contest, if I were to say that I want you to do a monochromatic floral design, which is shades and hues of one color, I'm going to provide you with say all or shades of red. And then I'm going to throw some yellow, and I'm going to throw some pink in there. And I'm going to see just which ones you're going to use. So you need to tell your kids, don't look at that bucket and say, oh God, I got to use those flowers. Read your scenario, know what it means, and act accordingly. And so just because you were given white flowers doesn't mean you had to put it in there. And I guarantee you, most kids, if it's in their bucket, they're going to use it. They always do, which don't get me wrong. When I have beautiful flowers, I want to use them too, but doesn't mean we need to use them. They're in that bucket. I think Melissa said, she had an advisor one time said, well, if you didn't want them to use it, why'd you give it to them? Well, you give it to them to make them think. Okay, that's the whole process here. And that's what's going to separate your student from the one down the street, okay? Because you know these color palettes. So we're going to dive into the different color palettes. We're going to talk about 4. You got a question?
When you're referring to the white, are you only referring to large flowers, or does that also include white filler flowers such as baby's breath?
Absolutely. I'm referring to all flowers. Just like when you see a dozen roses and it's filled with baby's breath, you're going to see that baby's breath first because, number one, like I said, white reflects light. And I'm not saying that it's wrong because that's what's been traditionally done in there. I don't use baby's breath in my shop, not because I don't like it or because it's old fashioned. I just don't use it for the fact I don't like that that's all you see when I do my roses. And then number 2, there's a lot of waste in it because all the blooms are on little bitty laterals and cut them out. But anyway, it would apply to this as well as that. Any other question? So we're going to talk about 4 different color combinations: monochromatic, complementary, triadic, and analogous. We're going to start off with monochromatic. That's the easiest one that you could do. In my opinion, when you're doing competition work, if the scenario is not specific in telling you what color to use, I would always instruct my student, if they had enough product to do so, I would always do monochromatic. It's the safest thing. It's the easiest thing to remember. And monochromatic is shades and hues of one color. And as you can see in this first one, we have all white. There's a little bit of variation in the shade of white here, which is totally fine. We have roses, hydrangeas, and stock. Absolutely gorgeous. And it's really pleasing to the eye because it's all one color. Your eye is not bouncing around in regards to color. What it does is it draws you in, and by having the different flowers in that color, you've got different textures. Your hydrangea is one texture, and your stock is another texture along with your roses. But this is tone on tone, one color there. Then we have pink. And here we have different shades of pink. And another thing, you can see this is a truly monochromatic arrangement from flower choice to container choice, okay? Not every time due to budget restraints does FFA offer the students more than one container because budget just sometimes don't allow. However, if you're in a competition and you are given multiple containers to choose from, if there's one that is in the color palette of your flowers, that also would help in the overall package. And you can see we've got light pink, medium pink, hot pink. And this would be monochromatic as well, okay? And then we're going to play off of the corals and the peach to the pink. And there again, these are the orange. This is all shades and hues and colors deriving from that orange color. And we've added a little point of interest there with the pampas grass, but you can see we have those coral peach roses, a little bit of coral there, and then the orange. And there again, you can't hardly see it because the lighting's, maybe if I put it up there, it's in an amber orange. Let's see if this works. Yeah, you can see a little bit of it there. It's an amber orange base. So we played off of the color again there. So all three of these are monochromatic. Even though this one is not all just orange, like this is all white, this is shades, hues, and tones of that one color, and it is still considered monochromatic. The same with the pink. This is not all hot pink, like this is all white, but it's shades of that pink. So this is still considered monochromatic. Any questions on monochromatic? Okay, the next one we're going to talk about is going to be complementary. Yes. And we're going to pull up a color wheel and we're going to talk about the color wheel for just a second. If you look at the color wheel right now, complementary colors are colors that are opposite of one another on the color wheel. If you look at the top, you have yellow. Directly opposite from it at the bottom is purple. So yellow and purple are complementary. Opposite is red and green. Opposite, blue and orange. So those are the three color combinations that are complementary colors. And as you see on my table here, can they see me still? Okay. We have red and green. We have red and green as a complementary color, and you can see that I've also chosen a red base. You see how important the detail and color is? Most of the time, this color combination, you see it a lot of times at Christmas. But this can be done in an everyday environment. Absolutely love it. The Gerber daisies to the carnations to the roses, all different textures of red, accented with the green Fuji mums. So complementary color, red and green. Then we have complementary color, purple and yellow. And here we have a shade of purple hydrangea with the cream stock and the yellow Gerbers with the solidago. So this will be complementary, purple and yellow, okay? And then the final one is blue and orange like we saw earlier. And this happens to have the blue hydrangeas, the orange Gerbers, and the blue thistle. Probably can't see for my shirt. What you think? So complementary colors. That would be the second combination that I would focus on with my students. After monochromatic, I would work on complementary. You see how if you can instill in your students that if they're given the product in a bucket and they can do monochromatic, wonderful. If they can't, if there's one of these three in any shades of these three that they can create a complementary color palette, that's what I would recommend. This is easy points, fellas and ladies. On these color palettes, if I walked in to evaluate, okay, and they did a monochromatic arrangement, I'm going to automatically give a 5. Some evaluators may disagree and say, I'm not going to give a 5. Well, listen, why wouldn't you? If one of the approved color palettes is monochromatic or complementary and they met that objective, it needs to be at least a 4 or a 5. So color is an easy 5, okay? Now don't go and, if your student don't get a 5 and they get a 4, don't go to Melissa and them and say, why didn't they get a 5? I'm not saying that, but at the minimum, they should get a 4 to a 5, okay? So that's easy, easy points, all right? So now we're gonna move on to triadic. If you'll pull that color wheel back up again for me. Triadic, if you got that pulled up, triadic is any 3 colors equally spaced on the color wheel, okay? So let's look at the color wheel now, and we're gonna look at red. If we skipped a color, okay, and we started with red, we skip to the left, you're gonna go to yellow. If you skip to your right, you're gonna go to blue. So red, yellow, and blue would be a triadic color. Tri meaning 3. So we have an arrangement that is red, yellow, and blue. And then I happen to use a red vase just to add that extra red to it, but that's triadic. So let's repeat that again. Triadic is 3 colors equally spaced on the wheel. The next one would be to take the color orange. And we're going to go skip 1. We're going to go to green. Skip in the other direction. Or you could continue on around. You're going to get purple. So we have orange, green, and purple. And this particular design. These are 2 of the triadic color combinations. These are easy, folks. That's why I'm telling you, take that color wheel. If you can teach your kids the color, this is easy, easy points. So many times we focus on so much other stuff and forget color because you're thinking, well, we have no control of what they're giving you. I can assure you that they're not just going to grab mix match flowers and put it in there. If that happens, there has been times where people donate product to us and it doesn't come in as we requested it. Okay? And when we're given colors that are all just mix match and there's no possible way that a kid could meet any of these color palettes successfully, then at that point in time, that's when the administrator or superintendent of that contest would let you know that, and would also let the evaluators know that when it comes to color, we're giving everyone a 4, okay? Because we know that the student is limited based beyond what they were given, okay? We want to be fair, we wouldn't want to set anybody up, but typically when we're planning for a contest, we're going to give you some kind of possible execution of one of these color palettes. So triadic again is colors that are equally spaced on the color wheel, okay? Any questions on that? No questions. I hope you're taking notes on that because I may pop back and ask you a question. The last one that we're going to talk about is analogous. And what that is it's adjacent colors in any 90-degree section of the color wheel, okay? So if you take any color that is adjacent to one another in a 90-degree curve on that color wheel, you would have analysis. And here we're going to talk about blue, green, and purple. You look on that side, you've got green, blue, and purple. They're all adjacent, meaning together, side by side, in a 90-degree angle. The next one would be orange, red, and yellow. There again, you could do red, purple, and blue, green, yellow, and orange. Vice versa. There's many different combinations there. But you can see how we did the orange, yellow, and red. They're 90-degree angles there, and the same here. So what do you think about that? Any questions? No questions. All right. So let's recap on color. Color is one of the easiest points that we can have, okay? We want to really, really drive home our color. Color is the life and the personality of that arrangement. Monochromatic is shades and hues of the same color. And that could be all the same color. It could be shades like we saw in the pinks and the peaches. Then we have complementary colors, which are colors that are opposite of one another on the color wheel. Blue and orange, yellow and purple, red and green. And then we have triadic. And triadic is 3 colors, tri mean 3 that are equally spaced on the color wheel. And then analogous is 3 colors that are adjacent in a 90-degree section of the color wheel. So I hope that helps you on color.